Good morning, friends, and welcome to my second part of Sylvia Plath, an autobiographical note, paper 9A. I had already mentioned that Sylvia Plath was born on October 27, 1932, in Boston. Her parentage was a mixed American European one. Her father, Otto Plath, was a Polish. He immigrated to America at the age of 15. Her mother, Aurelia Plath, was a first generation American of Austrian descent. Her father was a professor of biology and German at the Boston University. Her mother also completed her master's degree in English and German at Boston University. Now, since both of them, her father and mother, both were academicians, this too influenced Sylvia's studies. The Germanic background and academic environment both left a deep mark on her life. Now, and life and even on the experiences. For a considerable time in her childhood, she lived close to the ocean in the Atlantic coast, and the sea imagery in Sylvia Plath poetry is rooted in those experiences of her time. She herself wrote to her mother, "My ocean childhood is probably the foundation of my consciousness." The personality of her father too becomes important in Sylvia's life. Her father was a strict disciplinarian and a man of principles. Sometimes in her poems, she expresses that she's scared, terrified because of her father's strictness. She had a brother, Warren, and her father was also a scholarly writer. Her father was also interested in entomology. Beekeeping was her father's hobby, and she inherited this hobby from her father. And her father died of lung cancer. Her father's attitude towards family was of rightful dominance. Her mother said that she will have to become submissive for her family's happiness. So there is a grain of feminism in her mother, which even Sylvia Plath had inherited. She was also a scholar and had read most of the books. Sylvia Plath started writing at an early age, and she was a good student right from the beginning of her school life. She also had some lessons in piano. She also attended a Girls' Scout camp. Her favorite fields were art and writing. She was a hard worker and she won various prizes during her school studies. In 1950, her first story was published in a very good magazine after great rejections, and later on in other columns, and one novel, The Bell Jar. But she's known more for her poetry. Afterwards, she had a lot of publications to her name, and in the later period, she began to reveal an examination and analysis of the deeper recesses of the soul. Now, in Ariel, which is one of her poems, she analyzes the darker and hidden dimensions of the self, which seem to be her fit of madness. Sylvia Plath was an extremely ambitious person. She set for herself impossibly high goals, and her entity was of an perfectionist. This attitude drove her to succeed, but at the same time, it ensured failure, leading to a kind of destructive energy which becomes increasingly evident in her later poetries and also in Ariel. She observes, I have erected in my mind an image of myself, idealistic and beautiful. Is not that image free from blemish, the true self, the true perfection? Am I wrong when this image insinuates itself between me and the merciless mirror? Never, never will I reach the perfection I long for. With all my soul, my paintings, my poems, my stories, all are but poor, poor reflections. Now, Sylvia had a very close relationship with her mother, and so her mother's character plays a great role in understanding Sylvia Plath. In her later age, she started fusing the characters together, the father and grandfather, under the name of Daddy. Before her father died, she had an amputation performed. He had an amputation performed on his leg, and this incident becomes important because she sometimes presents the physical abilities and hurts in her poems. Now, more about Sylvia Plath I'll be talking about in my next lecture. Till then, thank you and goodbye.